You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
This makes my nipples hard.
Hey there, and welcome back to the show. This week, Paul and I are talking about Character Battle Royale. I did used to watch wrestling. It was kind of a thing. I'm not totally out of experience with this sort of thing, but now we're going to do it with classic video game characters. Hurrah!
Sunday,
Huzzah.
Sunday. Was that? I don't think. I think that post.
That's what I was waiting for.
That might post-date old-timey radio. That's more of like a late '80s Saturday morning cartoon. Monster trucks are coming to town vibe. Sunday. I don't know what that was, but that was an attempt. So an attempt was.
That
made.
was that guy on the commercial, who's the guy that was telling you to go there and
Exactly.
watch the races. It was perfect.
Come watch cars get run over by a bigger car on Sunday. That was pretty exciting at the time. Everybody listening knows. I don't know why, but we like seeing.
They do. I remember Gravedigger? My kid got like a Hot Wheels version of Gravedigger, and you'd make this car out of foil and you'd push it onto another car so it would look all 3D. Right. And then you'd race the big car on and it would roll over and smush all the puny cars.
Do you remember Bigfoot? Bigfoot was like, he was,
Yeah, no, definitely.
I say he is in, it had a personality as a sentient vehicle. Bigfoot was the guy. And then there was Barefoot. Okay, this week, I'm going to tell you about this week's episode, not looking back, but instead looking forward. In case you heard a clear editing point there, it's not because I just cut something out that had to do with last week's episode at all. No, in stuff and things. So, do you think I described it? Do you think people are on board here? Do we know what's going on? We feeling good about this? This week. This fucking week. This is, okay, I'm rolling with it. This is our third or fourth try, people. We're like 2 minutes in, and we are struggling to get into this episode. But it's going to be a fun episode. I've put more work and time into this episode than the last one, at least. And I'm excited about it. It's going to be fine. It's called the Character Battle Royale. Did we say that already? I remember grabbing the Pringles can, like in the recorded, what they're going to hear part, I think.
Yes.
Did you guys hear that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They did.
I can hear them. Yeah, okay.
It.
Fantastic. So, Sunday, yada, 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 Bigfoots. Yeah, that's right. We do went through. Okay, so that brings us to...
No, they didn't get the Bigfoots
We're still struggling to say something new here.
We killed that part.
It's like our fourth take. Part. We've recorded about 23 minutes, of which you guys have heard 3 so far. And I still can't just tell you what's going on. Look, listen, here's the deal.
No.
Character Battle Royale. Let's just start doing it. Fuck it. We're doing it live. We've got so many of these that we can throw one away for example's sake. That's what we'll do. Okay. So it's going to be like little death matches, right? Puzzle solving, because now I don't have confidence in what we've said that's recorded and what we've just said that's thrown away. All right. Round 1. You guys will catch on quick. You're a bright bunch. Larry Laffer versus Bernard Bernoulli. Doesn't matter, is what it doesn't. You know what it doesn't matter? Okay. Larry versus Bernard. Who escapes a sticky situation better? Anna, don't go too hard on the word sticky in there. I just realized what I'd done earlier. I shouldn't have used sticky with a Larry thing.
Wow. Who escapes? I guess, yeah. Who can get into a sticky situation faster?
I think it's too late. Yeah, it does affect the entire matchup now. You know what? That's fine. Let's lean into it.
Well, I mean, I would have to say if they were to both take an IQ test, I think Bernard would just on simple smarts alone win the IQ test. So if it's a matter of straight puzzle solving and intelligence, I would have to say that by sheer will of thought and action, Bernard would win. But at the same time, Larry would trip, spill a drink, and short circuit the device, and Bernard wouldn't be able to win, and Larry would win by proxy.
What's incredible is how much the word sticky actually matters now, because if it's not for the implications of the sticky part of this, then Bernard is it's not even a competition. Bernard is clearly better at getting out of a tricky situation just based on his intelligence alone. But if sticky is, as intentionally placed as it seems, then Larry is kind of the master of that domain.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said he was spilling a drink. It'd be a sugary drink, and it would mess up his machine. See, I took it to such a safe, comfortable place.
Oh, okay. And I undid all that. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make it so cummy after you did all that hard work getting us out of that territory.
But yeah, I mean, I think Larry would win simply because chaos favors the fool, and that's always been known. It has. At least starting now, it's always been known. I like that. I don't know who said it, but I think it's been said. I've heard
it was someone. Yeah, it was definitely someone. Probably someone in history.
Mm-hmm. I bet, like before me.
Right, throughout time, at some point. Great. This is great. This is going to be fun. This makes me more excited for the episode. I promise there will be 95% less semen going forward than there was in the first one.
Unless we talk about like boats and Guybrush, who might be the next one on our list.
Nice, yes. Speaking of semen, let's go to Guybrush Threepwood versus Roger Wilco. And this is a two-parter because I love these two facing off against each other. So I wanted to shoehorn in two little battles between them. So Guybrush Threepwood versus Roger. Okay, who solves a moon logic puzzle better?
Ooh, that's a great question. And it's like with Guybrush Threepwood would come in with, he'd be like, he's clever and sarcastic. He's really good at thinking outside of the box. Like, more so than I would think. I think Roger Wilco would solve it by trial and error, and he might get lucky on it, and his luck might end up becoming moon logic because he's blundered into it. But I think that I don't know. It's the chaotic intelligence again, and Guybrush's improvisational tactics that might make him better at moon logic to me.
I kind of agree. I'm going to quickly steelman Roger just for the heck of it, but I think ultimately it's probably Guybrush. I would say, to Roger's credit, he's really irreverent. So maybe there's like that irreverence, that like disrespect for the tradition might be in his favor because you're not approaching the solution traditionally anyway.
Right.
Okay, I'll take that as a minor win, or at least I made a,
You made a point that worked. It fit right in there, sweet. I would say.
But ultimately, I think you're right, and Guybrush also has that Force Wally thing going on, and I don't know how, but I feel like that could maybe help with that. So yeah, I'm gonna say Guybrush too will be a little better at moon logic puzzles. But wait, hold on, I got a really good caveat though. But Roger is a child of Sierra, and they invented moon logic.
Oh yeah, okay. So if you put it almost on like a third-person perspective outside of the situational self. That yes, that would totally make sense.
Yeah, I mean Guybrush, that's not his domain at all. He's from LucasArts. They're reasonable. Whereas Roger grew up in this neighborhood. I think that's the swing vote, man. I'm going Roger on this one now.
Oh, you've swung it all the way back over. I'll take it. You know what? The Sierra baby, man, he can win.
Beautiful. Okay, all right. But then part two of the question.
LucasArts can't always win. Jeez.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you guys. LucasArts fans, you'll win all the logic and reason-based ones. Don't worry. Yeah. Who causes the least amount of collateral damage while solving the puzzle? Guybrush or Roger? The least amount of collateral damage. I
still say probably Guybrush. To me, Guybrush is the kind of guy he would put on a women's outfit and impersonate the security guard as she was guarding the front of a place, and like Roger would. He would go in and try to sneak something, but he would accidentally set off some kind of an explosive and set off an alarm, and everybody would run out to get it. But in the meantime, it would cause more collateral damage just due to the way that he made everything happen. Yeah, good call. Good call. Like I think Guybrush causes a lot of collateral damage. Let's say in the act of getting the woman's clothing, like he leaves a lot of wreckage in his wake
on the way there. But you're right. I think in like the final analysis, Roger's the one that like crawls through a vent, and then the vent like breaks and collapses and knocks the guard out, and that's how it got done, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So Guybrush wins. Guybrush causes the least amount of collateral damage.
Yeah, I would say.
That's pretty tough, though, man. That's like a 51-49.
Like you're saying, it's a super close one.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have the list in front of you, by the way?
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Okay, sweet. Let's like rotate who like says the thing, so I don't know like talk so much.
Sure. Okay. So next we're gonna hit up good old Gabe Knight versus good old Georgie Stobart. So imagine that they're deciphering an ancient curse. Who deciphers the curse first? So I'm gonna ask you because you've asked me now every time.
Dang. Okay. That's the price to pay for not having to read this. I got to go first. That sucks. Okay.
Yeah, because when you read it, I answer, and then, yeah.
Yeah, and you get to breathe while I say words. That's fair. Breathing is tight, so I get it. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, no, super tight. And I have opinions. I mean, I was supposed to be looking over this list and thinking about it before the episode, but I ended up getting caught up in something, and I didn't get a chance to, so I'm flying by the seat of my pants for all of this, but it's fun, and I know all the characters, so I feel pretty good about it.
Good, and I really didn't formulate who. I was so focused on, like, doing the question and then really more focused on who should face who that I really didn't stop to think of who should win any of these. As long as it wasn't obviously one of them was my criteria, and then I just wrote it down and didn't think too much further. I don't know George Stobart very much is the problem here. I don't know Broken Sword. I just know, as at this level of adventure game fandom, it's like you know a little bit about like the games you haven't played. Like the example is like I was talking to OneShortEye the other day about Thimbleweed Park, and he's like, yeah, I know what happens, but I haven't played it. It's like we end up hearing, like I get the vibe of George Stobart, and he seems like he just seems like a great match for Gabriel Knight, hence why I put him on there. But I don't like know him. So I'm afraid, like, in my bias here, I'm just gonna have to go with Gabriel because I would have reasons for picking Gabriel myself because being an actual fan and player of his game. So I'm just gonna say Gabriel and pass it to you because you've actually played Broken Sword, no?
I have, and I would say, if the code, okay, to me, like, Gabriel Knight is all about like mythology and occults and symbolisms and being connected. He has Grace, so she's kind of like his sidekick, so anything he can't figure out, he's got an automatic kind of a go-to person. So I think that makes him a good candidate, especially if it's sort of dark occult or something on that. But if it's like super logical, like from what I remember when I played the games, George was like, he was super skeptical about stuff. So like if the code was anything off the beaten logical path, he probably might not be super into it. He's more like a lawyer or a detective. He doesn't go as much off of like vibes and feels and energies. So if like a basic code was something, it would be George. But because it's an ancient curse and it's connected with, the supernatural and all that other wild, crazy things, I think Gabe Knight would definitely take the win on this one, because I think George wouldn't even believe that it was a thing in the first place. And by the time he got over his skepticism to bring in his analysis, he'd be too logical to figure it out. So he'd be stuck.
Okay. So it's like it's too abstract for George.
I think so.
Okay. All right, good. Because it says that the winner has to face Indiana Jones for the boss battle, and I really like the idea of Gabriel Knight versus Indiana Jones. So,
yeah, that's definitely going to be what the battle is.
Now the question is, does Indiana Jones actually decipher things? I guess he does. Like, he definitely does. Thinking of like Raiders of the Lost Ark, like he figures out the sunlight coming into the thing to get it to shine through the glass and point to the whatever. So I know that was terribly descriptive, but versus Gabriel Knight. I don't know. Do you have a blatant pop-out winner there?
Oh, if the two of them were actually going to be fighting together with Indiana Jones versus Gabriel Knight?
Not physical.
Indiana Jones is supposed to win. Oh, right, the ancient curse?
Right, sorry, yeah.
For a boss
You
battle.
just got how you went broken.
Oh, I was thinking like fisticuffs.
Right, no, you got hyper
totally
literal
what
on
I
me
was
there all of a
thinking.
sudden. That was awesome.
But yeah, I mean, versus Indiana Jones, I don't know. Again, if it's connected with the spiritual and it's an ancient curse and things, they both have such great experience in it. But I've seen Indiana Jones more times, so I know a little bit more about his problem-solving abilities than Gabriel Knight's abilities. And Gabriel Knight isn't really a decipherer of ancient curses first and then, something spiritual second. He's something spiritual first. And I think like Indiana Jones was practically built for curses, ancient curses, so it might be him.
I don't know. I was gonna say Indiana, but now I'm thinking of Gabriel Knight too. And I think there's a lot of like, ancient curse deciphering going on there. I'm gonna go with Gabriel Knight. I just noticed the how many things are on this list, and I'm like, we can just say a name and go to the next one. There's plenty of. This isn't one of those episodes where we got to milk anything. We've got a lot if we need it. Yeah, I'm gonna say Gabriel Knight. Okay, so
all right, hit me with the next one.
We've disagreed with one. That's good. That's good for ratings. People like when we're pitted against each other.
That's awesome. 3 more ratings and a new Patreon listener just for that argument.
Right, exactly.
Actually, if they really liked arguing, they would have liked our last episode. To be fair, that is the most like non-agreeing upon things that you and I have ever been, which is interesting to me because I find I thought that a lot of what brings people into things is controversy, and I wonder if, and I don't know, I'm not listening to us as that much. Exactly. But is it the fact that we generally agree with each other that people like, or like does us not agreeing with each other, does that feel weird or does that interesting? I don't even know. I mean, because for me it's all interesting. Obviously, I'm here.
Yeah, I don't.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Point is,
that's fair.
Yeah,
I would have gone down that road, but that's.
I'm gonna say, I know. No, they don't want us to. I'm sure. Bob and Threadbare versus Zach McCracken. Who unravels a cryptic prophecy faster? Wow, you're not making. I haven't read all of these yet. You're certainly. This one is great. Okay, that would be. That I'm gonna. Do you want me to give it to you first? I don't think it matters, but I do know that I think Bobbin already thinks symbolically. I mean that would kind of help, right?
Yeah, Zach does a great job of unraveling and kind of deciphering a at least an alien-like prophecy-like situation. But Robbins is literally a prophecy, I guess you could say. Maybe. I'm reeling that back in. It literally is a strong word in this sense. I'm pretty sure it is a direct prophecy. I don't know. I can't recall it all in an instant to confirm that. But yeah, I mean, what Bobbin's doing is essentially, at least, figuring out. I don't know if it's a prophecy now. I'm still going with Bobbin, though.
You're going with Bobbin? I think Bobbin I'd go for. He'd hum some kind of a draft and be like, oh yeah, it's about like transformation and life and death, and I've got this all figured out. And like Zach would be like, I don't know, he'd go to like 4 different places that had nothing to do with it. He'd have an argument with 3 random characters, and then he would totally figure it out 6 hours later than Bobbin did.
It's funny because I didn't know Bobbin smoked so much weed until you just quoted him back there. Yeah, man, I'll just like wave this wand around, man. Need a little G chord, make it happier sounding.
Didn't you see him in the Cheech and Chong movie? Oh man, he was so high.
Yeah, well. So were you swinging to the Zach end there? I guess no, I don't.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be Bobbin. Bobbin's gonna figure it out first, and Zach's gonna figure it out, but it's too late.
Okay, that's a great answer. I'm happy with that. Right.
That'll work. We'll both take
right, because it does say in the question faster. So, I mean, that would be the spirit of it. They both can. Who does it faster? It's Bobbin, because he's got magic, and Zach has, rag mags. Is that a term the public knows? Is that a thing? Or is that just like what my mom called them?
That's what, I mean, I think it's a British term.
Okay. I mean, like, national, I know you know, Anna, but I mean, like, National Enquirer and whatever Bat Boy was on, or maybe more helpful to the actual, what was in Zach McCracken, for example. Okay, next one. Grace Nakamura versus Laura Bow. Who figures out a supernatural mystery faster? This is Grace.
Right. So, I mean, I'd be jumping to Grace pretty quickly because I think Laura Bow doesn't really believe in anything mystical. I think she would try to find a human element everywhere she looks, and she'd be so busy trying to find the real cause that she'd miss what's actually happening.
Damn, that's a great point. Right. Grace has seen some shit, so she's willing to believe. Whereas Laura
like she's
would
got what, voodoo, demons, real werewolves, ancient beliefs. What else? Like the show, or I mean, the game is filled with all of that. It's like the backbone. And Laura, she'd be like, a ghost. I wonder who's controlling the lights.
She'd be trying to Scooby-Doo the ghost. She'd be trying to lift the mask up.
Very
on
much.
It. Right.
Yeah.
The only caveat I'll throw into this, because I really like your answer. But the only thing I'll throw out there is I think Laura Bow is actually an investigator, and Grace kind of isn't. She's thrown into situations to where she has to be, and she's pretty competent at it and things like that. But like Laura is like the actual professional here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's true.
But supernatural is not her wheelhouse.
If she could get beyond herself. Yeah, if she could get outside of herself. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Grace. Your point is the strongest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I supposed to read the next one? Okay, so Boston Low, because The Dig, you guys, we did an episode on The Dig with Daniel Albu. It was awesome. You need to listen to it. It got really into things. Versus Indiana Jones. So let's say, Paul, you need an alien artifact deciphered. Who are you going to call?
What an interesting question I haven't heard of before or wrote earlier. I would say... first of all, this is kind of a recycled question from earlier, past me, getting a little lazy already. What the hell? Didn't I ask this question already? Yeah, I kind of did. When we did Gabriel Knight versus George, it says who deciphers... All right, you know what? Why am I calling myself out here? Let's just play ball. Okay, slightly repackaged version of an earlier question. I would say that... Well, that's
Boston,
thing. Go ahead, say words.
I just wasn't sure if you were stuck. I was trying to rescue you.
I was, yeah, thank you. Well, because this is a good one, right? Because Boston, he's actually been to an alien planet, and he has actually deciphered alien artifacts, with the wands, with the gems and all that. Whereas Indiana Jones... He's deciphered artifacts, but not really alien ones, unless you want to include Crystal Skull, which nobody wants to include
Jones.
that.
That's funny. Indiana Jones to me is like mythology and history. Like that's kind of his wheelhouse. But if you're going to talk about like mechanical, logical alien sort of things, that's more of like a Boston Low thing, because you're going to get, those are two completely different mindsets. One's going to be trained by NASA, and the other one's going to be trained by life.
Whoa. Very cool. Yeah, that's perfect. Boston was there. He was on an alien planet deciphering things. I don't know what else he would want on the resume.
So he's done energy pattern things. He did mechanical behaviors. He's done like all of those really intricate things when Indiana Jones has a whip, right? It's like, I'm going to whip the alien artifact and I'll see if I can trigger something, but he's not going to do the same kind of like decoding. Like Indiana Jones has people for that.
Yeah, he's good with sandbags and whips, whereas Boston has like NASA.
Yeah, and Boston is, arrogant, especially if you're reading the book even more so a little bit, but he has a lot of intelligence. Like, you're going to guarantee you Boston, with all of the social skills he might be lacking, his intelligence is probably a bit higher than the average.
Well, I don't appreciate the dig on Indiana Jones that implies, but I do. I said the dig. I didn't mean to, but that's a you know. I'm sorry. We'll just go with Boston and forget that I said that dig thing a second ago. Okay. So we both picked Boston.
Right.
Nice. Okay, next. This category, this little cluster, is chaotic battles. So this is all just for the beauty of the chaos. We've got Max from Sam and Max, and then another parentheses, the rabbit. Thank you, past me, because we do struggle with that. Max versus Ransom, the clown from Thimbleweed Park. Who's the most unhinged?
Right. Oh, gosh. Well, I think, to me, Max is like pure, instinctual, unhinged, absolute insanity. And Ransom is almost like regret and rage and anger and missed opportunities tinged by humor, but only to make money for work. So it's a lot more calculated in his sort of... Max is more chaotic, and I think Ransom's more mean and abrasive and calculated. He's more self-aware. Max is like a gigantic bomb with a mouth on him. You don't know when or how he's going to go off, I think. He's way more unhinged, I would say.
I was kind of thinking Ransom, because... I don't know, you have a pretty good argument. I was thinking that Max is more like feral. Like, just feral crazy, I guess. Which, it's a fine line between that and unhinged. I guess one of my point in thinking Ransom is that Ransom is like what an actually unhinged person is like. Mm-hmm. Like walking around in clown makeup, for starters.
Well, Ransom's like Steve, my buddy Steve. They're exactly the same. And Steve's not unhinged. You promised you wouldn't
bring Steve into this episode.
But you know what he is? He's unfiltered. Ransom isn't unhinged. He's unfiltered. Okay? Unhinged is like Ransom's going to come in the room and insult everybody. And Max is going to, I don't know, set fire and burn the whole fucking room down.
See, but I think that's far past unhinged to just insane. To just, you know what I mean? To just cry. I almost feel like there's like some room for nuance in unhinged. Is this too much like our last episode?
It might be getting there. It might be getting to that point.
Okay. I don't want
Unhinged is like lost emotions, I guess. Right? Like you have no ability. But like insane is literally you're delusional. If you're thinking on a medical term, like from in the hospitals.
Okay, let's do this. Let's call it a draw. We're going to say that Max is probably the most unhinged. Ransom is the most lifelike unhinged.
Good. We'll take it.
Okay.
All right. Dolores versus Guybrush Threepwood. Who breaks reality harder? And now Dolores is from Thimbleweed Park.
Right, thank you. Definitely Dolores.
Why?
I mean, she just absolutely destroys reality. Whereas Guybrush just kind of chips away at the fourth wall.
Okay, so you're saying one smashes reality into pieces and the other one just taps into the fourth wall a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think Dolores I think Dolores also taps on the fourth wall. Like, in addition, right? Like, all throughout gameplay, like, she kind of... I mean, they kind of play it like she's talking to herself, but she's kind of talking to you. Be like, oh, I learned how to, code in BASIC, and da-da-da. Like, she's kind of just talking to us.
Well, yeah, she's fully aware of being fictional in a way that Guybrush only hints at, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in the game, because she's like, she's going to look at the camera and pan something right to you in a way that Guybrush does, but she does it in a more self-aware kind of a way.
She's at least as fourth wall breaky as Guybrush until the end, in which she becomes...
Spoiler.
Yeah. Exactly what I was thinking. She becomes the spoiler. Okay, Larry Laffer versus Roger Wilco. One of them is babysitting your kid. Which one? Man.
All right, man. That's a... Okay, so if Larry's babysitting your kid, when you get home, he's probably got a girl over and, you know, he's busy trying to do stuff with her while the kid's maybe not even put to bed, but maybe he put the kid to bed right away. Like, I don't know if I sense maternal instincts. Like when Uncle Larry comes over, is he there to play with the kid or is he there to hit on Aunt Ida? Because I think the kid gets in his face. He's like, here's a chocolate bar. Get out of my freaking face, kid. Kind of a guy, a little bit.
Right, I agree. The only thing that makes Larry more red flaggy is to add the name Uncle before Larry.
Yeah, no, doesn't it though? It's so bad. And then Roger Wilco would be the funny uncle. Like, Uncle Roger's coming. The kids would be happy. It's like finally an adult that acts like a kid, that's willing to get into mischief with us and build forts and eat all of the junk food in the cabinets and leave chip crumbs everywhere. The parents would hate them, but the kids would freaking love them. So it depends on who you ask.
Yeah, this has got to be Roger, because I'm picking Roger just based on the fact that he does sporadically choose to be a hero, like we talked about in the last episode, where there's moments where he does the right thing responsibly for the betterment of others. And that makes me think that he could put a child's needs above his own. Whereas Larry has offered none of that whatsoever at any point, ever. Larry
would bring the kid a chocolate bar, but only use it to shut the kid up so he can have time to make moves on the mom of the kid.
Right. That's another good call. Like, I'm saying this as a single dude, but to anybody else, you know, anybody with like a wife, like Larry's going to be up like in the underwear drawer being weird, so... There's other concerns, too, about having Larry in the house. Like, Roger's not... No, I'm not going to say it. He's not doing that thing I implied a second ago.
No.
Okay, it says the winner here has to face Hoagie. So, Roger versus Hoagie. I'm still picking Roger.
I'm still picking Roger. Hoagie is accidentally useful, but I don't know, in more of a... It just... How do I put it? In a lazier way.
Hoagie's like accidentally useful, which was one of these questions that I actually 86'd on here because it wasn't fun. But yeah, I don't know. Hoagie's great if you want to like remake the movie The Sitter with Jonah Hill, but you put Hoagie in. I could see that. He could get you through the night maybe, but Roger does seem odd. It's weird to think that with 3 adventure game protagonists here, Roger's coming out like the clearly more competent. Which is odd and impressive that we could ever frame a question that would make Roger look more competent than others. But alas, here we are. All right, this one's for Anna.
But don't worry, you can't. I said you can't skip that one.
Yeah, no, I got you. Don't.
Okay.
Do you want me to read? I'm going to read it because I can't even really answer it. Murray, the demonic skull. Versus Bonehead. Who is the best fleshless sidekick?
He's put this in just for me, you know. Well, you know what? Bonehead is helpful. If you treat him well and run errands for him, he's there for you. But he doesn't have as much personality as Murray. Like, he's kind of nice, and he's kind of practical. But unless you're a Quest for Glory fan, he's probably not that memorable outside of the culture of it. Right?
I love that, how Quest for Glory is a culture. The culture of
But Murray's a little bit dramatic. Murray travels around more. He goes to different places. He's in the water. He's on a post. Like, Bonehead kind of stays in the same place. I think Bonehead would be good if you needed a sage to come and talk to sometimes. But I personally think, I have to say, the best sidekick would probably be Murray, because... he would give a bit more life and personality to the story instead of just fetch quests. I hated to answer it.
I could hear it in your voice. I haven't heard you pained like that in some time. It was like you threw the back of your hand against your forehead.
Being honest is really hard. And whenever I do these podcast episodes, I really try to be true to myself as best as I can. And I don't always like what I have to say.
Right, that's fair. That's fair, yeah. Okay.
All right, so let's move to Sam versus Freddy Farkas. Who charms an NPC faster?
Okay, this little cluster is called the Charisma Off. We're having a charismatic
matchup.
There's
a heading.
Sam versus Freddy, who's more who charms an NPC faster? Or just more efficiently?
It's a cute question.
I would say...
It's adorable. I mean, Sam is very polite. Sam's super polite. He is super witty. Like, I'm the kind of girl that crushes on the Sams of this world. I really like that personality. I really like that steady, like old school, polite, right, kind of private eye vibe. Really, really quick with jokes, but never hostile. Very sweet. Reminds me of my father a little bit. Like, he's really good at easing tension quickly. Like, if something hostile's going on or something's happening, he uses that gentle sarcasm in humor that I really resonate with. And I love the fact that he can ask these totally off the wall questions that make no freaking sense and make them seem so damn logical. Like, just casually, like he'll toss it off somehow and like compare somebody to a bologna sandwich, and somehow you're sitting there going, yeah, I can totally see what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's definitely like you'd feel safe falling asleep with him driving kind of guy. You know, you're in good hands, but he's also got this kind of old-timey charm about him. What about Freddy then? Freddy he's also charming.
He is.
He's charming.
He's very charming.
He's also like an old-fashioned charming.
Just awkward and earnest. He's earnest.
Nice,
He's so sincere. He's like so non-threatening. Like, he's a guy with a gun that's killed people, but somehow you can still take him home to your mom. Like, how does he do that?
Yeah, that is ideal too. You know, you want that little bit of a monster, but you know, he's got it under control, sort of thing. Which I guess Sam's the same. I mean, he has a firearm.
I don't know, but he has a lot of guilt in him. I think guilt from his old days, guilt from who he was. I'm not sure if he could. I think maybe some of his guilt might come through when he's talking to NPCs, and they might sense that vibe off of him, that at this time, at least when the game was framed, he's not entirely at peace with himself. And I think personally that Max is at peace with himself.
All right, okay, so Sam is more confident, and that's why he wins.
That's the word.
Beautiful.
I keep getting Sam and Max mixed up.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, it's his internal peace, it's his confidence, it's the overcoat, it's that he is so at peace with himself that everybody around him calms down. Because think about how he has to calm down his partner and what he has to deal with in a day. So, like, he's going to take on somebody like you or me, like it's no big deal. Or, you know, Freddy Farkas for charming.
Ooh,
they're like, let loose in the town, you know?
Sam has never even thought of being somebody else other than who he is. And
No,
Freddy
ever.
is kind of purposely trying to be somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly that.
But I don't know, the degree to which that affects how charming they are isn't obvious, but I'll just go with Sam. Okay. Sam's slightly more charismatic.
Yeah, I think a little. I think Freddy can be charismatic, but you just get that vibe. The girls would get that vibe a little. He could charm the girl who needs the prescriptions for the brothel down the street like any man's business with a wink and a smile. I don't doubt that. Just as good as Sam ever could, if not better. But I think for just simply charming the greater number of NPCs, yeah, I say Sam.
But then there's Freddy would work on all the horse girls, man. You know, there's part of me the ex-horseman in me wants to go with Freddy just for that factor. Like that kind of, you know what I mean? There's like a whole chunk of the population that's like that cowboy charm just is.
You know, you might be swinging me back over to your side. I think you might have.
With a tilt of the cap and a wink of the eye.
With a tilt of the cap and a wink of the eye. You know what? I'm back to Freddy. I think I'm back again. I think there's something about that character that charms me too, in such a way.
Plus, Sam is a canine. You know.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I'm not into dogs as much as humans at this stage of my life.
I like them. It's just it's biblically forbidden.
Right,
the bestiality. That's my problem with it. It's not the sex with the dog. It's that the Bible doesn't like it. I don't know where I'm taking this right now. So next question.
No, neither does anybody. Okay.
Gabriel Knight versus Indiana. Oh, I had these two together. Okay, well, whatever. Gabriel Knight versus Indiana Jones. who's smooth talker showdown? Who's the smooth talker here? Because they both are. This is a draw, dude. I don't know if I could possibly pick one over the other.
I don't know. It's like one's more rugged and one's more southern, but they're both handsome and sweet. They're both seductive as hell. They both are really good at emotionally manipulating. Gabriel Knight is super smooth with the women. See Grace, but at the same time, Grace is a little abrasive herself. Indiana Jones is kind of immediately likable to people like you or like anybody out there in the world within 2 minutes, right? But
well, you bring up a good point. Is Gabriel Knight
Gabriel
not good with women?
Sorry.
Does he?
No, he's really good in like seductive and deep emotional conversations. I guess it's just the way he bounced off of Grace and stuff just made me. And I mean, I think, as I said, a part of it was Grace too. He was putting in that cocky, subtle charm, and she was just like, "I'm not going to put up with your bullshit." But he was still getting girls.
I think this just comes down to blonde or brunette. I've decided.
I think in Indiana, he's really good at the surface. Everybody in the room is going to love him. They're all going to fall in love with him, and they're all going to want to sleep with him. But Gabriel will find that one person and like find their soul and cradle it, like in a really special way.
That was very intimate the way you say cradle it there. Jeez. Okay.
I did a hand movement, but nobody could see it. If this was a VideoCon thing, you would have. I
believe you, though. I do believe you. Okay.
Are we gonna? Let's skip the next one. It's so we don't repeat too many. Let's go to some. Oh, I see. Okay. I'll let you pick the next one.
Well, all right. I'm not gonna skip it because it's Patty's only mention. Grace versus Patty. Who's better undercover?
Right. Or who's better under the covers?
Wow, Jesus Christ! I'm glad you did. I can't. So you know.
But gosh, who's better undercover? I mean, Patty's had a more game to herself than Grace has. Grace has had some game, though. I guess Grace got a lot in the second one too, didn't she?
Yeah,
that's true. They both had some game. And Grace, Patty, I don't know, like, Patty's new to...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, the game was called Her Undercover, so that's...
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's a bit of a tilt in her direction, I guess.
Undercover. I think Grace is better on the surface. Grace is going to go and take notes, but people are going to know she's there because she doesn't have any reason to go undercover. She's just there and you're just going to know it. And I think Patty could be a little bit more sort of non-invasive.
Dude, it's Patty for exactly what you just said. Just think at the beginning of Gabriel Knight 2. Grace is not smooth. She freaks the fuck out on that poor lady in the beginning of Gabriel Knight 2. Remember? Like it has like this jealous rage. Grace was not cool undercover at all.
Nope, not composure. Even a little.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this is definitely Patty. Oh, well, what the heck. We'll do the next one, too. Indiana Jones versus Roger Wilco. Who can bluff their way through a standoff? Just because these categories are great, Paul. I love it.
Thank you. I think Indiana Jones, for sure. I feel like he's like the bluff master, man. I feel like that's like one of his like things is bluffing through a situation.
He'd do really well at a game of bullshit. Like he would.
Is that a game?
If him and Roger Wilco, it is. Have you ever played bullshit?
No, I haven't.
You actually literally bluff what you have in your hand and you lie to the people you're playing with to get them to do certain things so that you can win. And you have to be good at lying to play the game. It's actually one of my favorite card games. I love playing that one.
I had no idea. It sounded like such a rough metaphor. He could bluff his way through bullshit.
Yeah, no, it's super. You know, Roger Wilco, I would think would be a bit of a desperate liar, a clumsy liar.
Nice.
Like he would lie in the minute. He would bluff through a situation. People might underestimate him, but I think his lies would not hold up to like more than a little bit of research. Like he wouldn't be able to put the background into it to bluff their way through the standoff. Like it would be a weak lie. He's not as confident. I think Indy is a little bit more direct and authoritative, and not only would people believe him, but they would believe him so much that they wouldn't even bother to verify it.
Right. Yep, I'm sold.
Yeah.
All right, survival battles. This is it's gonna get a little more violent here. So we got Sonny Bonds versus Sam the rabbit. Who survives a zombie outbreak for longer?
Wow. Okay, that's a little bit of a different one.
They're both
Sonny
police
Bonds,
officers.
They both have guns.
It's not the rabbit. Sorry, I said the rabbit earlier. It's not fucking man. We do really.
No, it is not the. It's not the rabbit.
The dog.
Anyways, they're both trained. They're both police officers. They both have dealt with some freaking crazy situations. I don't think zombies would faze either of them really that much. But I think Sonny Bonds follows rules really, really rigidly.
Ooh,
and
that's
I think
a great call.
Sam is not tactical at all. He's not disciplined in any kind of survival skills. I think Sonny would survive longer. He would use the book and the rules and the systematic resources.
Right.
But just in factuality, I think if it was like a comedy world where it was like, those comedy zombie movies like Shaun of the Dead or something, in that world, I think Sam would survive longer though. And Sonny would just be killed by his own politics. Right,
man. Yeah, you've owned this question. Well done. I agree on all accounts. Because you're right. For like a scary zombie one, the survivors of those films are always the ones that are like strict protocol. They don't break routine. Like they always do things the exact same way. Rigid protocol. Mm-hmm. And then for the jokey ones, you got to be a little jokey. So there's that.
Yep.
I like the way you said it all better, but I agree. Okay, next. You read the next one.
Okay, Laura Bow versus, is that the one we're on? Yes, Laura Bow. No, we're Roger Wilco. Roger Wilco versus Zach McCracken. Who survives stranded in space? I almost missed that one. That's interesting.
I was going to let you miss it because there's a lot of Roger in this, but we love Roger, so.
One works for a tabloid and one is actually a space janitor.
Like it should be Roger, but.
It should be Roger because Zach reports about space, but I don't know.
There's
He's
no
got
reason
some
to believe that
experience
either
with
of them would survive
I don't
stranded.
know. Zach does have experience with alien tech. I mean, hence the name of the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But he's
okay. Let's hone in on the word stranded, because they've both been to space and survived it.
Right.
I mean, Roger kind of lives in space to a degree, but.
I think Roger would still stay alive longer. He would find a way to patch oxygen leaks and he'd use a sock to make the ship somehow or wherever he was, make it so that it could run again. I don't know. I think Roger definitely wins. Roger duct tapes the ship together and Zach, I don't know, somebody writes a nice obituary about him.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's got to be Roger. He's got the experience. Okay. Laura Bow versus Rosella. Who survives a cursed haunted mansion for longer?
Well, I mean, Rosella does have a little bit of experience with haunted mansions.
She does. But Laura was in a mansion with a killer. Mm-hmm. Who you might say was haunted by his own demons.
That is very, very poetic. How beautiful. But there was still nothing supernatural happening. Like, would Laura have been able to figure out that it was even ghosts, or would she have spent so long trying to figure out who was making the haunted stuff happen in the house that she never helps anybody that lives there?
Yeah, this is another one that might have to default to Rosella because she has experience. Like, she's already survived a haunted mansion. Why couldn't it be her?
It's just, you have to accept that items are magical and that you have to accept the supernatural entirely, wholeheartedly to make it happen. But at the same time, if it's a haunted mansion and nothing's going wrong, Rosella might see things that aren't really there, and Laura Bow might just be like, there's no dead bodies anywhere, there's no people, nobody's getting murdered, what the hell, like, survive nothing, I'm going to bed.
I love the implications of that, right? Like that, because that makes it seem like Rosella does all this bullshit work, digging up graves and stuff for no reason. All she had to do is just kindly ignore it.
It's true, though. All right, Alexander from King's Quest versus Bobbin Threadbare. Who survives a magical labyrinth?
I don't know why Alexander. Well, okay, I know now. I remember why I picked Alexander, because he's in King's Quest 6, there's a bunch of nonsense that he has to get through, and like the chess land. There's a lot of labyrinthy maze-like situations and hedges and whatnot. But I mean, if it's like actual magic, I guess Alexander, do they deal with real magic in King's Quest 2?
They do.
And it's not like Bobbin's magical. I mean, his staff can cast spells, so that's magical. Yeah, okay.
Well, while Alexander is brave, he does rely a lot on trial and error.
It's gotta be
He does
Bobbin.
die more than Bobbin. I know.
That's
It's
fair,
just,
yeah.
Bobbin's a symbolic thinker. I don't know. But he is a bit passive. He does wait a long time. Like, he thinks too hard maybe before making a decision, which might be a little bit of his... When Alexander is taking notes and trying yet again, Bobbin might be hesitating and worrying about implications.
Yeah, but Bobbin's really good at dyeing things green.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think, he probably survives longer. He's all attuned, and the magical structures, he'd connect up. He'd feel the labyrinth's intentions somehow. And then he wouldn't just be reacting to the situation. He'd be like a part of the situation and in tune with the situation and even learning new music from the situation. And Alexander, well, yeah, he'd probably survive fine, and maybe he'd run into a slightly scarier Minotaur at the end.
Yeah, Bobbin can cast spells, and Alexander's a dude. Just a dude. With very puffy sleeves.
Very puffy sleeves.
Okay, Bobbin wins. Next round, Ben, Full Throttle Ben, versus Simon the Sorcerer. I should have put Simon versus Bobbin back there. Really missed opportunity. Well, whatever. Who survives a hostile fantasy world? Why did I put Ben versus Simon for this? I think I messed something up here, but we're gonna just... It's obviously Simon the Sorcerer. I mean, Ben's just a dude. He would have no idea what he was doing in a fantasy world. He's from like... Well,
he is kind of lazy, though. He's arrogant and lazy, and he does rely... He's kind of like... He's sort of sarcastic, and I don't know. The answer is Simon. The answer is Simon survives longer because, I don't know, in fantasy you can't go around punching dragons and punching curses. Like, Ben would be like, I'm going to punch everything and ride my bike into it, and I'm going to fix this freaking problem. And it's like, that's not gonna work here, man. You can't do that.
That's so funny, dude. Okay. I'm glad this mishap happened. And I think it was supposed to be Simon versus Bobbin for the Magical Labyrinth and Ben versus Alexander for the hostile fantasy world. But even then, that would be Alexander because he has experience there. Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is the Moral Compass matchups. Graham versus... Oh, this is the only question that's framed this way. It's a little bit weirder than the rest. Graham versus which LucasArts protagonist makes the nobler decision. So I guess because I just couldn't...
That's interesting because LucasArts characters don't tend to make noble decisions.
Right, and that was my struggle. Was I really spent a while on this trying to figure out who is the LucasArts version of Graham? What is their equivalent to Graham? Who's their like noble, wholesome hero? And I couldn't really... I couldn't pin one down.
I guess the dog from Sam and Max.
No, that was the best. I think I even erased the dog and reframed the question this way, because just to more open the conversation up, because it was more interesting this way. But you're exactly right. Sam so far seems the most selflessly noble character in their whole catalog, which is which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess Bobbin, he's pretty damn pure-hearted and selfless and stuff, but he doesn't give you like noble, you're safe with me vibes. I mean, he did kill a young child.
Yep. I mean, that was kind of...
So...
Well,
okay.
Graham he's old and he's serious. I don't know. Who else? I think, I'm sticking with the dog. Who else could it really be?
Yeah. Okay. I think more than anything, I just wanted to see if you could come up with anybody. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Okay. Well, then the answer to that is Graham. I mean, Graham is like the embodiment of nobility, I think. So. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Next one. This one's interesting. Oh, you go ahead and read it. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Ray McCoy, I mean, the guy from Blade Runner, because we haven't gone in that direction yet, versus Bobbin. But who is the most selfless?
Okay, see, I really like this one because they're both really, really selfless in two completely different ways. So I think Bobbin gives up his physical being, let's say, to transcend into what he needs to become for the sake of humanity. Is probably the best I can do as far as summarizing what happens at the very end of Loom. And Ray McCoy, now there's like 14 endings to pick from, but picking the most Blade Runner-y ending is he gives up his job and his position in society to stand with the replicants, which is ultimately to say that he refuses to hoist himself above the androids because the androids show every bit as much of humanity as humans do. So in other words, he refuses to overlook the humanity aspect in the androids, and it costs him everything.
Because when he's choosing to break his training, it's very like deliberate, and it costs a lot to him whenever he is selfless.
Yeah,
and he wasn't born that way. Like, because Bobbin,
right?
He's a child of the Guild of the Weavers. He was literally created to sacrifice himself from the greater good right from the very beginning. I don't think he knows anything but being selfless. So in one hand you've got Roy is like, it's not in his nature. It's almost like being selfish is like he has to personally rebel against everything that he stands for in life to be that way. But Bobbin, it's pure automatic compassion deep down to his very core and soul. So I have to say most selfless is Bobbin because he literally is selflessness personified. But if there was an award to who became the most selfless over a period of trials, I think Ray would be there.
Right. That's exactly, you've arrived at where I was at too, where it's like, because Bobbin also gives up his actual life, his physical body, his life as we know it. And Ray doesn't. He loses everything except for his life. He loses his job, his position in society, his ability to move forward, easily. He gives up everything that he knows for it. But anyway, I think the framing too is like Ray is the product of a character arc, and Bobbin kind of isn't. Like you said, he's kind of born for this. He doesn't. He almost seems like on a set track headed towards this direction, no matter what. And there's something almost more compelling about it on the Ray side of things because he goes against who he used to be.
Right.
So that makes me feel like that's actually more selfless. I feel like it's more of a conscious decision for Ray.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Ray for that. I think Bobbin could be most selfless because he is selflessness, but he came into it naturally, so maybe the fact of the effort has to count for something.
Yeah. But Bobbin's got that, he does it for the greater of humankind, whereas Ray's doing it more on like a moral stance. I don't know. All right, we'll just stick with Ray. Okay. I was going to say, because Bobbin actually gives up his life, but in the Loom world, you know that when you die, you move on. So I feel like that does diminish the sacrifice a little bit.
That's true.
Like if you're guaranteed, like, hey, you do have a soul, killed. It's like, oh, okay, cool, then I can die.
Yeah, neither of them are really innocent as such. Although I have to say, Ray has killed a lot more of beings than
Yeah,
Laffer.
at least they were adults, though.
Yeah. Okay, so you're
Here's
calling
another question. What's worse, killing 10 men or one child? Ray versus Bobbin,
exactly.
reframed.
Oh my God, that's not an episode anybody ever wants to hear. So Sam versus Boston Low, you're saying that one of them could potentially be LucasArts' King Graham, and I was looking at that question just now and thinking Boston might actually make a good King Graham.
Yeah.
I think he actually could. I think he could because he's so serious and he's already feeling burdened. He's already the burdened leader.
And he's got that sexy gray strike above his ear. His ears. Streak.
Yeah.
Strike. Whatever. That's that's
streak.
leadership right there. That gray spot.
It is.
Okay, next round. Female leads. Ray from Thimbleweed Park versus Rosella. Who do you trust with the task at hand?
Right. Well, I mean, one is an FBI agent, so let's just go there right away for a minute. So, like Rosella, maybe she brings the fruit back for her dad and maybe she eats it. We don't know, because she'll do either. But, Ray's pretty secretive. I mean, she totally hides who she is. Like, she's not super emotionally invested or even into something unless it suits her directives entirely. Like, you might not even know what her agenda is. The whole time you play the game, you kind of don't know what her agenda is. And you know that Rosella is loyal and she will do anything to do the right thing. And that's really important. But she could probably get deceived pretty easy. Like, I think she's a little bit naive and vulnerable.
I think Ray's hired help where Rosella's not. So Ray's like a professional. Like, you hire her to go to the town and solve the thing. Whereas Rosella just wanders into the middle of a conversation, much like a child, and does her best to... I think Ray is the professional, but I think that Rosella wins because Ray in Thimbleweed Park doesn't actually solve anything and then leaves town.
No. I think Ray would do what you wanted her to do, but she might set something up and like totally change the mission or like do something behind your back that has some kind of an ulterior motive. And Rosella she'll be true to whatever you've asked and she'll just do her best, even though she's a bit more naive.
Right. Okay. Let's skip the next one. And then maybe even skip this one too. Do you know Nico very well? Because I don't. It just seemed like a good...
No, I really don't.
Okay, so we'll skip that one too. To you listening, because I imagine just for very few of you, it'll be very frustrating, and you'd be like, "Tell me the thing you're skipping," because I just need to know. We're skipping Patty versus Lara, who uncovers the truth first, and we're gonna skip Elaine Marley versus Nico Collard, who's the team leader. And that puts us on the wholesome hero round. Oh wait, I said 86. We're skipping this one too. Okay, Sam and Max versus Sonny Bonds. Who saves more lives?
That's a great question. Well, I mean, what if we look at numbers from the actual games? I don't know. How many lives does each one of them save? That's a really good question. Like, they're freelance. Sam and Max are freelance police. They protect civilians, and they're there for kind of the same reasons. Like, sometimes they've even saved the whole world. Right? Which is pretty big scale. Sonny's more like, he's very realistic and it's all on small scale. Like, Sonny saves one person at a time and Sam and Max save 1 million people at a time.
See, okay, that's what I'm a little blurry on, is how many lives they saved in Hit the Road. Because, to Sonny's defense, he does save like a good couple hundred people's lives by stopping the terrorist attack on the airplane.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Not just the people on the
plane. But like Sam and Max kind of saved the world in one of their games, so. I mean, if you're looking at what it is, total head count, I think Sam and Max win. Impact within a community, Sonny wins.
Okay. That's fair. All right, Graham versus Indiana Jones.
Who embodies pure heroism better? I would say Indiana Jones pretty much right off the bat.
I don't think it's obvious.
Right. You think there's more? Do you think there's more depth to this?
Yeah, I mean, let's just leave it because we've used both of these characters a lot already. But yeah, I certainly don't think it's obvious. I think Graham is pretty Superman-y as far as storytelling is concerned. You know, like very like pure, wholesome,
Like the mythical.
Right, like, you know, very.
But who dies more? Look at LucasArts. I mean, look at Sierra. I mean, Graham definitely dies more.
But Indiana Jones like sleeps with women on the side of the journey and stuff too. You know, and like he has like his own little like. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe I'm almost framing it as like a family-friendly sort of vibe too, just like that purity.
Oh well, yeah. Then Graham for sure.
But that's not necessarily the question, though. In your defense, it does say embodies pure heroism. Well, whatever. Next up, Villainous Showdown. Okay, you read this one.
Okay, Villainous Showdown. LeChuck versus Vohal. So, Monkey Island versus Space Quest. Who actually murdered... One actually gets a chance to murder the other. Who got?
So, yeah, I mean, this is like kind of cut the bullshit. Like, somebody's dying. Mm-hmm. Who is it?
Well, Sludge is already sick. Like, he's literally attached to life support. Like, LeChuck is a zombie that has teleportation, and he can do all, like, he can transform himself, but he's not like super methodical, like, and Sludge plots and plots and plots and plots. But I say LeChuck totally does. Because, I mean, Vohal can do all the planning he wants to prevent you from getting to him. But if you physically reach him, you will win because he is physically helpless. What is he going to do?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if it counts then if Vohal has LeChuck murdered or not. Okay, here's my thinking is that LeChuck isn't a very serious villain. And, like, I don't see LeChuck as somebody with actual blood on his hands. Whereas Vohal I could see as, like, a murderer. That doesn't, like, a ruthless will kill you. Doesn't really fuck around. Whereas LeChuck is more, like, theatrical.
Right, I would say. Yeah, I mean, if it's about smarts and plotting and planning and not the two of them in a room physically ready to face each other in murder, then... Yeah, then it could be Vohal. But if they're literally in the room and they're face-to-face with each other, then, yeah, I don't think Vohal's going to do so good in his condition.
Right, he does get killed by a tiny Roger.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
How are you going to do the next one? You don't really know much about Adrian Ripburger.
I do. Cause
you didn't even know, do you?
Full Throttle, yeah.
Yeah, you know Full Throttle?
Yeah, I've played it several times.
Oh, okay. I forgot that about you. That's why you keep bringing up that game. Okay.
I have. I played it a few times with Strum because But,
okay. Well, Adrian, he's a corporate villain, right? If you played the game, he's like the CEO of, I can't remember the name of the motor company. He's all like, he was an executive guy, so he's like, he has money in hitmen. He has a team of. He has people setting traps, but I think as far as like on the physical side of things, he's not particularly dangerous. So as long as Ripburger has his tools, his money, and his henchmen, he is definitely a very, very dangerous man on a large scale. Jesse, on the other hand, well, he's good at like violence in your face. He's super streetwise, but he's not going to be strategically making something dangerous over the long term in a broad community sense. He's going to make his own neighborhood very, very dangerous.
Does Jesse Baines doesn't he have control over a gang?
A community of people.
Yeah, he's like a gang leader, so I think he's a smaller scale Ripburger. Mm-hmm. Like they both have like henchmen and thugs that they could send after you.
If it's just the two of them in a room with like just standing there, though, Jesse is going to kill Ripburger in 2 seconds flat. But in the long game, I think Ripburger is going to... Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's not even... Ripburger is not even going to get blood on his shirt. He's literally going to be eating crumpets while Baines is dealt with. That's how he's going to win.
Okay. Very good. I'm happy with that. Yeah, Rip Burger's more dangerous because he has more resources. Jesse Baines is like a Rip Burger Jr. He's like a seedier, druggy version. Rip Burger is got like escape velocity from all that and found a way to do crime on a larger scale. Okay, this one's for you, Anna. Dr. Cranium versus Dr. Fred Edison. Who is the maddest?
Yeah, that is a good one, and it's definitely for me. Well, I mean, Dr. Cranium is actually, he's brilliant. He's obsessed with progress and science, and he's always inventing contraptions, and he's really eccentric. But I don't think he's actually insane. I think he's super weird, but he's more like, I don't know, you'd be like, crazy Uncle Cranium is coming over again, and he's always going to bring puzzles for the kids and teach them about the science of pizza or something. And I think, like, I don't know, Dr. Edison he's a mad scientist full on. His house is literally filled with death traps. He's really, I think he's really insane, and I think he's very, very deeply broken inside. I really do. He's got a lot of hatred and animosity towards life. So I think, like, Dr. Edison is the madder. He's madder. He's as mad as a mad scientist. I think Dr. Cranium's pretty much a harmless, eccentric fuddy-duddy.
So Dr. Cranium's more like Mr. Megorium, Wonder Emporium, and Dr. Fred Edison's more like Frankenstein.
Yeah, or if you've ever played The Castle of Dr. Brain. I don't know if you ever have.
I did when I was a kid, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, he's like that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Girlfriend deathmatch time. Beatrice versus Elaine Marley.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was going to read it so you could answer first. Hey, girlfriend deathmatch time. Beatrice versus Elaine Marley. Who gets shit done?
Yeah, they both really do. They both get shit done. They're both pretty badass. Beatrice, especially if you think of, like, the beginning of Space Quest 5, like, she's in charge of, like, the fleet. They try to, like, shut her out from the mission. She's not having any of their bullshit. She puts, like, the whole room of dudes in their place and is like, I'm going. My cause matters and I'll be overseeing it. Like, she doesn't take shit from anybody. And Elaine saves herself competently. So yeah, it feels like a draw.
I think Beatrice is really good at bureaucracy. I think she'd be really good in an emergency, and she's super, like, she's gonna do things right even if she's, like, I think she's a little bit formal. I don't think she's fooled easily, and I don't think she tolerates fools easily, which is funny because she had a fun relationship with Roger. But my grandma was like that. She didn't tolerate fools. She didn't like nonsense. She was an estate lawyer, and she was really straight up, straight ahead. But every man she married had a sense of humor, and they were just like Roger Wilco, like my grandpa, the punster, and, you know, the other man she married, Jack. Just these funny, lovely men that are completely opposite to their personality, totally. So, I don't know, but sometimes I think, you know, Beatrice might get tangled up in protocols and stuff, when Elaine Marley might be better at, like, a little bit more improvisation. Like, she would adapt really well. But she's a little impulsive too, but she's done a lot of cool stuff. I don't know. I think Beatrice, she's really competent, right? She's really good at military bureaucracy, so she would get stuff done, because I think Elaine is a little bit more chaotic. Right.
Beatrice has climbed to the top of a ladder, in a sense. So she's plus I'm just thinking of the intro and outro scene of Monkey Island 2, where Elaine, you know, Guybrush is suspended from the rope and Elaine shows up, and what happens in that scene is that Guybrush ends up falling what could have been his death, because Elaine didn't fucking get the shit done. Because I was going to say Elaine swoops in and she saves herself in Monkey Island 1, and then she saves Guybrush in Monkey Island 2, but she doesn't save Guybrush. He talks until his rope breaks and he falls. So that's her not getting shit done. She was supposed to pull him out of there. And that's why Beatrice wins.
Right.
Look, it's flimsy, but it's all 100%. I got to go on. All right, Family Feud. This one is fun. The Edisons versus the Beamishes. The villain is in their house. Who's got it covered?
Well, I mean, the Edisons attract villains by proxy. I mean, it just kind of happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or maybe they are the villains.
Right.
Sometimes.
Takes one to know one sort of thing.
But they're not very good at recognizing danger, I would have to say. The Beamishes are just such a typical, like, 1990s kind of like suburbanite family, mom and dad and the kids. They would, I mean, if anything dangerous happened, they would instantly be on it, I think, to protect the family. Like, I think they'd get suspicious a lot earlier, especially his mom. And she'd totally call the cops. Or like his little sister, they'd be like, this isn't right. We're gonna deal with this immediately. So I think the Beamishes are gonna get the villain out first, but I think, like, I don't know, maybe the Edisons would get confused and then, like, invite the villain over for dinner and he robs them or kills everybody.
Yeah, I have a lot more faith in the Beamishes than they deserve. I'm not sure why. I just feel like they've got it under control, especially the old ghost grandpa in the closet, in the attic. Plus the Edisons, if you think about it, at least Day of the Tentacle version of the Edisons, like, people are just running amok in their home for hours and they can't seem to do anything about it. So yeah, Beamishes. Okay, so now it says the winner faces the Daventry royal family. So now it's the Beamishes versus the Crackers, as you uncovered last episode.
Which makes sense, because when I went back in my little book and I saw that I had a picture of Graham Cracker in my signature book that Al Eufrasio had done, and I remember he just drew a little thing, and then he said, "What's Graham's real name?" And I said, "Graham Cracker." This is back in 2018. And he said, "Right, that's the right answer." And he drew the rest of Graham and the whole cracker for me. So I've known that for years.
I hate it, but I can't change it.
It's so weird.
It's too far, you know?
Can't at all.
It's too far. They deserve more respect than that, is my notion. But alas, the Beamishes versus the Daventry royal family. Somebody's broke into their home. Who's got it covered? I feel like the Beamishes have, like, this McAllister vibe about them.
I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Beamishes still are. I mean, the royal family sticks together, but somehow there's a part of me that the Beamishes are like the family in Alf, or the family in Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, they can get through anything in 17 minutes plus commercials.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah. It should be the Daventry royal family, but we're going with the Beamishes.
Yeah.
Okay, next. We're almost done, people. We just got a few more. What's the next one?
I Can Fix Him Villains Round. LeChuck versus Dawn from Phantasmagoria. Who is more redeemable with enough love? That's an interesting one, because, I mean, well, if both of them are technically not alive per se by the time we get into it, right?
That makes it very complicated.
Yeah, because, I mean, Dawn, okay, I don't know what LeChuck used to be, but
Exactly.
Dawn used to be a wonderful, loving husband.
Exactly.
He used to be, he had this, but he did have seeds of toxicity in him, because it's revealed the demon wouldn't have been able to get into him if he didn't.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when a person gets drunk and says something nasty, and you have to wonder to yourself, do they really feel this way, or are they just saying it because they're drunk? And it's really hard to know. But in this case, he did have some evil in him.
That's I appreciate the effort there, but I think for the initial inclination, it's got to be done, because you at least see what you got a glimpse of what you'd be redeeming.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't think either of them is easily redeemable by love alone at all, but the Dawn would have to be just slightly more redeemable than LeChuck.
Yeah, like, at least we know what's there, what was once there to redeem, where we have no idea what that might even look like with LeChuck.
Yeah, because LeChuck, he doesn't even have a soul, but Dawn, he completely lost his humanity. Poor guy.
Okay, let's take Dawn into the boss final round with this. It says the winner, that's right, this is quite jokey. The winner faces life itself from Leisure Suit Larry. Because I kind of determined that Larry's villain was life itself.
Right, that's great. Very, very, very cool. Very meta.
So now, who is more redeemable, Don or this life that we all live? Not easy. Not easy.
Well, we've both done horrible things, but life itself is what it is as it presents itself, I guess. And Don isn't who he is or what he is. He became something else that wasn't even of this earth.
I'm not so cynical to go against life itself. It's you know
I'm going to have to say life is more redeemable to me.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty wild. It's a good time. I would do it again. It's a good time. You know, once you've heard like child's laughter and stuff like that, it's like, all right, that was fun to hear.
The next one's interesting because that was Alexander versus Rosella, who has more daddy issues, is funny to me because Alexander didn't really grow up with a father. He was kidnapped right from the get-go, and Rosella grew up with two loving parents who loved and protected and cared for her. So Alexander's going to have way more daddy issues than Rosella. I mean, his entire arc is about reconnecting with the family he never even got to grow up with, and healing from the trauma of the wizard and finding out who he is and his place in society. Like, Rosella will love and honor her father forever, and Alexander struggles to even feel like Graham's real son.
Yeah, that's the right answer. I think there's a jokey Rosella answer just because like she's daddy's little princess, which is going to be insufferable for her future boyfriends. But ultimately, Alexander's the one with actual daddy issues. Yeah, that's damn right. Okay, Bernard versus Adam from EchoQuest, or EcoQuest if Anna was to read this. Who wins the science fair?
I don't even know the game. So I'm going to tell you the right answer right now, immediately, without even knowing much about EcoQuest right here. You ready for this?
Okay.
Okay. It's Adam because he's still in school. Bernard is the weirdo who showed up with a project for the science fair, but he doesn't go there, and he's 10 years too old. So they're just looking at him funny.
Dude, wait. So you've not played EcoQuest, whatever I'm supposed to?
No, I've not. I've not played any of them. No.
Were you on the stream when the Greenbergs played it with us, the Hotspot crew?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I was.
Okay.
That's all.
So I guess we were
have
kind of
the
all
game.
talking
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff
it.
anyway, so that's fair. Okay.
Yeah, I was sort of paying attention. When they were playing it, they were very proficient at the games.
Right, they were trudging ahead as we all bullshitted.
This.
Yeah. None of us. Yeah. Right, they were the ones paying attention, not us. That's fair. Okay, we'll have to tackle both EchoQuest games, especially both of them. They're both really fun. All right.
Yeah, no, they pair really well in between Quest for Glory games for sure.
Definitely, it's a nice palate cleanser after that. Yeah, I tell you, I'm so scared that I won't like them as much as I'm supposed to. That is the fear at this point with Quest for Glory. Like I can't, and I can't fake stuff with you because you can smell it. So
I can.
that's boy. It's okay. There's nothing I can do about that. Hopefully they will just present themselves to me, and I am in an accepting place. Phew, bit of stress around that. We got it though. It's gonna be fine. It has to be fine. Okay. You said Adam because he's still in school and Bernard was a creepy. That's the great answer. Okay, next one.
Okay, so Dave Miller from Maniac Mansion versus that handsome boy Steve Dorian from Laura Poe. Who is the most useless sidekick? I was trying to do Laura's way of saying it.
Sorry, we got both angles covered now.
It's perfect. I mean, Dave's the normal guy, but Dave's the guy that you're just like, what do you need Dave for in this game? Because he's really good at moral support. Yay. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, Dave's like, he's got that Marcus Brody lost in his own museum kind of vibe about him, but less, in a less charming way, in a more just vanilla cookie cutter way. And Steve?
He's completely forgettable and offers absolutely no help in anything. No defense if a murder happens, and he kind of goes away when action happens in the plot in the game. Like, he's very nice, but I don't actually have seen him do anything useful. Either.
Yeah, that gives it to Steve then, because Dave does do stuff. He does. He does do things. If you pick Dave in Maniac Mansion, then yeah.
Dave, he might not solve the problem, but he will continue to try to solve it until he dies trying to solve the problem. Steve didn't even know that there was a problem and didn't show up.
Yeah.
It's like Steve's worse than Keith, man.
Well, it's funny you should say that. Oh, wait. Because the winner faces Keith, and what's funny about this is that there's no beating Keith. Of course, Keith wins. Steve doesn't. Steve was like an upright citizen. Keith wins. I don't have a jokey metaphor for it. Keith Robinson from Police Quest 2 is the most useless sidekick of all time. He does nothing for anyone. You could at least argue that Steve motivates Lara romantically to want to get through the evening or whatever you could pull straws from, but yeah, it's Keith. Okay, Willie Beamish versus Adam Green. Who wins an absolutely brutal fist fight between these two children?
Now, having not knowing much about EcoQuest, but I do know that I think Adam is a little older. He's like 12 or 13, I think, and Willie is like 9 or 10. So he's a scrappy, dirty fighter, but I think Adam, from what I saw in the game, he's into diving and swimming and stuff. I think he's more disciplined in the mind, and I think Willie is a little bit more chaotic. So if there's a straight fist fight, Adam might win, but I think Willie might sucker punch him first and just catch him off guard because he gets underestimated. Yeah, that's really good. That's really, really good. It's funny that you bring up age right away, too, because that is significant when you're in this bracket of time. Like a 9 to 11, 12-year-old difference is a really big deal, like height and power-wise and stuff like that. And then, Willie's got kind of the more street smart sort of vibe. They're both somewhat in shape because Willie skateboards everywhere, but Adam scuba dives. Adam is more calculated. Willie's more street vibey. Yeah, I agree with you. Willie gets the first punch. If it's good enough one, he wins. If not, he loses. Yep, that's got to be it. He's got to surprise him, and that's the only defense he has. Or he's got to kick him in the nuts or something. I mean, he has to do something unexpected and quick, or he's out of luck. Yeah. All right, let's bring it home. These are really quick fire rounds. There's only 5 of them. So, Purple Tentacle versus Murray. Who wins in the karaoke contest? It's Murray. Yeah, Purple Tentacle actually, he probably thinks he wins. Like in his own head, he is the winner because of his personality. And no matter what the audience or anybody else says or thinks or how it sounds or what it's like in his head, he always wins. But Murray actually wins because everyone would love a singing skull and with a sense of humor. They would think it is like the coolest thing ever. Yeah, and the whole time Purple Tentacle is singing, there's these sloshy, suction-y noises going on. A lot of kind of mucusy sounds between the suction cups, so it throws everybody off. Fair share. Next one, Roger Wilco versus Bernard. Who's the worst person to bring to a wedding? Well, I mean, Bernard is awkward, but he's kind of polite. Roger risks I think Bernard would be awkward, wedding. But I was going to say, I think Roger ends up setting fire to the table somehow, and either the bride or the groom gets murdered or accidentally sent to a different time frame where they can never ever meet their husband again. And then they have to go on a big quest. It's but Bernard would annoy everybody at the wedding, and Roger would destroy the whole wedding itself, I think. So you'd rather have the annoyance. Yeah. Bernard's, yeah. Okay, Bernard. No, Roger is the worst. Okay. Yes. Skipping the next one. Okay, you want to read the second to last one? Oh, yeah, please do. Guybrush versus Perpetentacle, weirdest presidential campaign. Well, like Kodos and Kang from The Simpsons. You're going to say it's going to be Purple Tentacle, who's going to be the weirdest, and is definitely going to take it on. Yeah, that must have been where I was getting. I had this vague feeling of a tentacly alien running for president. It must have been from The Simpsons. And then I put Guybrush against him just because the notion of a pirate running for president seemed kind of funny.
morally speaking. Like, why would they be a good president? They're pirates. They're definitely going to just steal the stuff and run.
Right.
Okay, Purple Tentacle wins. And then last one, bring the whole episode home. I'm not saying it's a good one, but it's LeChuck versus Dr. Fred Edison, worst attempt at world domination.
Worst attempt, not best attempt. Who gets it done? That's an interesting one, because Fred's like, Fred's done a lot of failed experiments. Like, for as many as he's been able to figure out, I think LeChuck wants it and has the power to make a mess, and he's going to keep trying. And I think Dr. Fred would probably, I don't know, he'd lose control and he wouldn't be able to make it happen. So he'd probably be worse. I think Dr. Fred would be worse than LeChuck at world domination.
Yeah, Fred's too small scale.
Because, yeah, he's incompetent, and really deep down, he's kind of scared. And I think LeChuck would fail because he's kind of dumb, but also obsessed.
Yeah, that's fair. Done. That's it. That's a wrap.
See, that wasn't so bad, guys, was it?
Hopefully not. Hopefully it was the opposite of that. But we will never know. I feel like that it was at least fun to say things at everybody. I hope you guys had a good time. We're gonna play some games coming up in the future here. I'm having a hard time wanting to play Return to Monkey Island, you guys. Like,
I know, I'm kind of waiting because I'm like, can we just do an episode about a game, please?
I know, that really is the holdup. And we can't do a third one of these episodes, so we're gonna have to do a game next. I don't know what that looks like. It'll either be Return to Monkey Island or something else, but it'll be a game.
Right. No, definitely it'll be a game. So, all right. So in the meantime, I just want to say thank you so much to our Patreoners, who I do super duper appreciate. I'm just trying to pull up a list of you.
Right.
There you are.
Quick, distract them with words. Do you have the list up?
Right.
Oh,
No, I got it up. I got it up. So yeah, no distraction needed. You can distract later. Anyways, thank you to everybody on the Patreon. It just absolutely astounds me every time I look in and see that people actually want to hear more of us and are making it happen. So thank you to you. We appreciate you at every level of Patreon. As far as the True Believer tier, I would like to say thank you to Gareth, Mick, and Christopher, Brian, Chapman, Jeffrey, Mark, Yanis, and Tim. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody that's here in Patreon. In fact, I'm a Patreoner, thanks to me too, because I support my show and I really want to make sure it keeps happening. So thank you, Anna, for continuing to be a Patreon member. Before I get into anything, I just want to say I hope you've had a chance to pick up the Phantom Fellows and have enjoyed it. We've seen some great reviews come up on Steam, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but I really want to say again, reviews are how a game gets found. Without reviews, it's not going to get boosted up in the algorithm and people aren't going to see it. So to help us motivate Paul, because we of course want to hear more from him and see more games, let's get out there, throw a few words, and even if you've only put a little bit of time in the game, maybe some impressions, we really appreciate it and hope that you're enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, well, just hold on. Maybe you'll enjoy the second one. It's okay. We don't even need to know. It's good. It's good. So yeah, anything you want to say about anything on the game?
No, thanks everybody. So that's yeah, no. Thanks to the Patreoners, because I'm still trying to figure to squeeze my way in to add my thanks to it without just being like, yeah, thanks. So thanks to the Patreoners.
Right.
We appreciate you guys, and to anybody who's played, and yeah, all the stuff Anna said, but with more Jewish guilt.
All of that.
You just leave a review if you feel it's necessary. Please.
Now with more Jewish guilt.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, say hi to us. We're on Twitter at CGG Podcast and the Phantom Fellows. We're on Blue Sky. There's a bunch of cool information at thephantomfellows.com. Send us your words, mail at cggpodcast.com, just like some people did this time, and we appreciate it whether you like the episode or you don't like the episode. You know, it's just nice to be talked to. Thanks. It's a big lonely world sometimes, and we really appreciate it when you say hi. So thank you.
Yeah, shout out to the Baron Blubberlock, man. That was an awesome email. I appreciate you. You'll all meet him soon. We're going to have him on very soon. Also,
yes,
Phantom Fellows is
I'm looking forward.
probably on sale on GOG, I think, come Tuesday. It's probably still on sale. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I recently made, I called it a reviewer's guide, but it's really for anybody who plays the game, especially if you're the type that just wants to like beat the game and get through it. So the Phantom Fellows has over 100 achievements. It has 100 achievements on Steam and like 140 or 50 on GOG, to where I literally don't know how many, and I made them all. But there's a ton of achievements because there's a ton of like hidden moments and hidden gems and Easter eggs and little bits, and you know, if you really like soak the game in and travel around town and do all the things, there's always something to find. For those who might find that daunting, or for those who just want to beeline it right to the most memorable moments, I made a reviewer's guide, which you can get on the phantomfellows.com. You can download the press kit, and it comes with the press kit, or you can find it. It has its own little tab, and you could download it. And I highly recommend that if you guys haven't played the Phantom Fellows, or even if you have, and you liked it enough to where you'd want to spend 20 more minutes with it, using your save slots, you could kind of jump around and see all these moments. Because a lot of them are hinged on like travel and things that you can really do at any period during a day. And yeah, I just wanted to mention to check it out, because there's a lot of awesome moments that a lot of people don't see, and some of my favorite moments in the game are missed quite easily. Like especially if you're just kind of going from A to B and trying to beat the game. Some of the best moments in the Phantom Fellows really are from these random moments of exploration and discovery and such. So go to thephantomfellows.com and download the Reviewer's Guide, Player's Companion, and yeah, keep that in mind for if and when you play it, and if you've already played it, to consider giving it 20 more minutes with that guide, because there's some awesome stuff in there. The end. Did you say all the things?
That's it.
Okay, then also...
we're also on Facebook, we're a page, we're a group, and we're on Instagram and YouTube. Now I'm done.
Don't do murder. So sorry. Let me just
Jesus, man, what are you doing?
Let me restart again.
You know, why don't we categorize our listeners into categories according to you?
If you found last week's episode annoying, you're going to hate this.
This is going to be the worst. All right, let's start that over.